INNOVERV's Chief Technology Officer, one of the smartest people I know, will do a fast tour around our AI-first delivery model. Abhraneel.
Thanks, Padada. Thanks a lot. And hello, everybody. I'm Abhraneel Sarkar, and I am INNOVERV's CTO and SAP Capability Leader. We've heard from Georgina and Stacy on the business value and change. And then you've heard Simon about the what when it comes to S4HANA and the surrounding ecosystem. So I'll take some time now to cover how do we implement S4HANA in a new way that delivers better, safer, and faster. And that's where our AI-first delivery model comes in, which is a fundamentally different way of implementing S4HANA that drives value across the board. The client, that is your business, the client IT, as well as INNOVERV as the implementation partner. Okay, so the tenets for this delivery model are outlined on the left side of the slide. Number one, we've looked at SAP's RISE Activate methodology across all phases and across all activities, and then challenged ourselves on where the effort is spent, where is the quality compromised, and what is the relatively low value work, and how can AI and automation solutions improve and accelerate all of these. And that is basically our AI-first delivery model, where all the necessary solutions from the AI and automation world come in and embed themselves into multiple activities and phases of the S4HANA implementation. Tenet number two, if AI is fundamentally changing your business processes in finance, in procurement, in order to cash, manufacturing, etc., then why would you implement AI as an afterthought after the SAP S4HANA implementation? You shouldn't be doing that. So what we do is we embed AI use cases for your business processes upfront during the business blueprint, during the design phase, and accelerate business benefits and maximize the ROI of your SAP implementation. So that's tenet two. Tenet number three is the success of an SAP implementation is not about the go live. It is an user adoption. So as Stacy and Georgina mentioned earlier, we partner with Workzogo in this particular space, which is basically a Silicon Valley startup. And we have a personalized nudge and coaching enabled by AI. Again, AI for behavioral sciences over here. This particular solution, this particular bolt-on interacts continuously with the users and guides them on system adoption, improvement in actions, and personal performance metrics, etc. So that's what drives the ROI of your implementation over here. Finally, thanks to ChatGPT, AI is democratized today, and it is for everyone. It is not for a select elite. And you in your organization would want to go and do that. You in your organization would want to go and scale that. And that's what we do. We coach you, we enable you so that you can, your digital transformation teams can go and implement and scale AI in your organization. So these four tenets effectively make your SAP S4HANA implementation better, safer, and faster. The improvement range is outlined on the right side, roughly, in the margin of 20 to 25% across when you look at implementation costs, schedules, user productivity, etc. Okay, so that's a summary, a very quick summary of our AI-first delivery model. Next slide, Dorgo. Okay, so how do we do it? Again, three principles here. Number one is the AI mindset. So we move away from an approach where we say that the work will be done by the users and then, or the implementers, and then AI is there to support them. No, it's the other way around. It's not AI helping humans, but humans helping AI. It's a paradigm shift and it'll take some time. The world is not there yet, but that's the mindset to start with. Number two is best in breed solutions, which is why you see a combination of SAP tools and a variety of other tools from Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, Perplexity, all of that. Do not try to build a monolith over here, right? And number three, keep it simple. Standard SAP expertise should be available without complicated large language models, very, very tailored to your stuff, your knowledge, etc. They're very, very difficult to build out. And then to manage them is even more complex, and you don't always get the right ROI over there. So if you have a standard mindset, then you look at leveraging the knowledge that is already out there, right? So with those three key mindset aspects, we basically looked at the RISE Activate methodology, looked at all the phases and all the activities over there. And then we basically say that, look, using a combination of SAP tools and INNOVERV AI enablers, we will deliver the dimensions that are shown on the left, right? So 20% in design, 30% savings in specs and coding, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the quantitative aspects, but also the fact that, look, it allows all the implementers to focus on discussions and decision making, not on the documentation. It drives higher quality and accuracy, and it drives AI across the enterprise, right? Some elements on the tools themselves. So when you look at SAP tools, obviously, we discussed that in the moment earlier, but you talk about Cloud ALM, you talk about Signavio, Joule, Business Accelerator Hub, and in the ecosystem, you talk about SNP, Sanity, Tricentis, Tosca, etc. All of these are obviously embedded, but alongside this, there are other tools that are enabled as well, right? Which include Gen AI tools like ChatGPT, etc. Microsoft Copilot, Azure DevOps, Google Colab, Google Gemini, Era for some AI solutions in supply chain space, Workzogo, as I talked about, for user adoption, etc. So all of that is embedded into our methodology over here. A little bit of glimpse, Olgo, on the next slide, please. Okay, a very, very quick glimpse of the various elements over there, right? So what we did is we got 12 S/4HANA architects, absolute SMEs who have done this several times before, combining with 3 AI engineers from Silicon Valley and Bangalore to build out this model over the last 6 months. That's our investment that we have done. And you can see the results over there, right? It's a combination of Microsoft, combination of SAP tools, combination of Gen AI tools, etc. Right? Left-hand side shows business process mapper, again, Signavio, Gen AI tools, and you combine that with Microsoft Copilot because you are having a lot of workshops, and the summary of all that workshops can come out with the transcripts. You have that documentation, you ingest the documentation into the Gen AI tools, and it comes up with the right, summaries, and even the right maps, business process maps, which can be then included into Signavio. So those are end-to-end cases that we have tested on ourselves, right? Then comes the specification engine, etc. Again, we know that by this time that, look, if you put the requirements into the Gen AI tools, you can get the necessary specifications out there, right? You can do reverse engineering as well. You can take out ABAP code from your stuff over there, your legacy systems, and then put that into Gen AI, and you can have specification engine as well. Test case is an interesting thing, and this is something that we did with a global pharma very recently. They had 1,700 test cases overall, just the names, but not the details. And what we did is we realized that about 40% of them were standard SAP test cases, right? 40% of them were a combination of standard SAP and interface over there, right? And 20% of them were completely custom. What we did, we realized that, okay, for the standard SAP piece, what you can do is you can put them into Gen AI tools and you can extract the necessary information, right? Examples would include things as complicated as SAP MES integration. So these guys had SAP with Verum Passex, and pretty accurately, the Gen AI tools represented all the necessary interfaces, the flows, the transactions, the data, etc. Even more interesting is if you actually model the organization structure with company codes, plants, warehouses, and all of that stuff into these models, you can actually get test cases and test data out, which go and represent those very details and say that, look, you take these materials, create a stock transfer order from this plant to that plant, and so on and so forth. All of that can be done using Gen AI tools today. Okay, that's a quick glimpse on test case, etc. Development Copilot, Simon talked about Joule already, but alongside Joule, you also have a series of other Gen AI tools that can actually help you a little bit. Not fully mature, but then it helps the beginners a little bit in terms of, let's say, 20-30% acceleration on the coding piece. Next. Olga? Okay. A little bit on the data side as well. And this is something that we did with an insurance client, just for fun, basically, for cash management. Imagine we created synthetic data, which almost resembles real life data for 40,000 customers, 60,000 policies, and 150,000 payments to go and simulate that. And all of that can be done with the Gen AI tools at this point in time. And then you go creating the algorithms for deduplication, for fuzzy logic, etc., and try to search a particular, relate a particular payment with a particular policy and a customer. And all of this, including the code generation, is actually done with Gen AI. So all of these have been absolutely phenomenal for us, right? So it is very common on the client business side where you need to do a lot of deduplication on materials, customers, vendors. A good amount of this can be done with Gen AI tools. On the right side, you see some tools and accelerators also for change and training. So you can create your stakeholder maps, you can create your training agenda, you can create your overall training plan, all of this using GenAI tools at this point in time, right? And finally, on the right side, as far as basis and infrastructure is concerned, you can read logs, interpret logs, create landscape diagrams with GenAI today. Okay? So effectively, with a combination of SAP tools and GenAI tools, you can go and drive the 20, 25, 30% savings and drive better quality outcomes for your S/4HANA implementation. So that was a quick summary. Next slide. Okay. So while we are talking about AI proliferation in general, let's just step back a little bit and say that, look, AI is great, but people matter. And AI, even today, obviously, isn't really a full substitute for expertise. That's something that we bring across as well, right? In the industry, we have seen a general overpromise and underdeliver syndrome. Very recently, a large CPG client headquartered in, no, I'm not going to say that, headquartered somewhere in Europe, engaged a big global SI, and they struggled to deliver on their AI commitment. The program is now delayed, and the client had to bring in another big four for the finance work. So while we make commitments on AI, let's also be a little bit careful and focus on the people and the essential learnings. What are the essential learnings? Do your S/4HANA for the right reasons. Get ready properly. That's what we talked about, Georgina and Stacey talked about, right? Get the right team. There's a shortage of S/4HANA talent all across the world, right? Break it down into manageable components, manageable parts in a plan. Absolutely critical. Then Simon talked about two different cars. So if you are trying to drive a Tesla today, don't try to look at the Volkswagen model or the older model, etc. Right? So you need a fundamentally different approach to do things the new way. So don't use old ways. Connect it up. We talked about that with processes going across multiple applications with SAP and non-SAP stuff. Data, absolutely critical, right? Whichever way you look at it, with a large number of enterprises having scattered data all across, if you don't do the data models, data preparation, etc., you will have duplications. And all those duplications make you suffer, don't give you the necessary visibility, etc. That continues to be critical. And finally, while you create your deployment plan, choose your pilots carefully, right? Look at the representative things, etc. But anyway, main message out here is there's a balance between the expertise that our people bring with the recent developments that AI has come up with and combining them to go and deliver your S/4HANA implementations for you. That's the value that we bring across.
Thank you, Abhraneel.